What's up, everybody? This is Casey Washak with the Rolling for Revenue podcast. This is your jiu-jitsu business podcast. So if you're looking to level up your jiu-jitsu school, create more impact in your area, and then build a business that actually levels up your lifestyle, then this is the podcast for you. Guys, I want to talk about some of the craziness that's going on in jiu-jitsu right now and the knee-jerk reaction everybody does to kind of these things that I would boil down to poor leadership. So obviously, if you're listening to this, you are in the jiu-jitsu scene. Some of the bigger jiu-jitsu schools with very high profile names who are at the top of their school structure have been abusing their power and taking advantage of people who trust them. That's what this is. And I've been seeing a lot of knee-jerk reactions from jiu-jitsu schools, and I don't know if it's a lack of life experience or if I'm just a little jaded, but every time something goes bad in the world, I don't need to come out and make an announcement to my students that we don't do that sort of stuff. My students know that, right? So you don't need to grandstand and make these like, here at our school, we treat everybody with kindness and respect and blah, blah. That should be given. If you have to say that, that's a telltale sign, in my opinion, because that tells me the community doesn't know your reputation. So if your school's worth a damn, your community should already know, like, man, this is the school that helps like with the community drives and holds self-defense seminars for kids and women. Like, that is what you should be known for, not treating people right. That's a given. That is the bare minimum. Okay. So there's this knee-jerk reaction where everybody's got to be like, well, look at us. We don't do that. And so what I want to tell jiu-jitsu school owners is, because I've seen some people attack the jiu-jitsu hierarchy and structure, and what this allows me to know is most of you have never had a job outside of jiu-jitsu. Okay? You've been doing this since you were a kid. You were a snot-nosed teenager. You're probably smoking dope in your car. And now all of a sudden you own a school. And like, this is the structure, which in American jiu-jitsu, which is very frustrating for me, is there's very little structure. And that's, believe it or not, that's hurting you. Okay? I keep going back to this. But do you understand why karate is still around in 2026? Because when they post a video or a picture, it looks like, if you remember Star Wars, like the Imperial Stormtroopers all lined up. They're all in like white gis. They're all in line. It reminds me of the military. And I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. This is what parents want: structure, discipline. They need help with that because they're not getting it outside in like the school system, outside in a lot of sports. It's loosened up. So they're looking for that. And then jiu-jitsu has this like anti-establishment approach where like, I don't even want you to call me professor. They need to call you something. You've earned that right. You're the leader of the gym. Your name is on the lease. You are the head guy of that gym. They need to call you something. They need to know what the structure looks like. Okay? Otherwise, it's chaos. And guess what? Especially kids. When parents see chaos, they're out. All right? So this is very frustrating because, like, look, if you don't want somebody to call you professor, coach, sensei, they need to call you something. Black belt Steve, black belt Bob, like whatever, but you need to be addressed somehow. And what's wild, like, so I come from a military background. I'm a Marine. That's why I love structure. And guess what? When there's structure, everybody knows what their role is, and everybody knows where their place is and where they fit in. There's no guesswork. And this is why I'm very big on systems, because especially when you have structure and you don't tell new people coming in, they feel dumb because they were unaware of the structure you've created and they're ignorant to it. And then they're getting scolded in their first couple days for not doing the right thing. So this is very frustrating for me because, like, this isn't a jiu-jitsu problem. This is a poor leadership problem. So everybody's like, oh, you got like this hero worship. Well, yeah, guess what? I own personal training studios. Guess who gets random Facebook messages from like people I've never met inside my personal training studios? Me. Why? Because I'm at the top of the echelon. Even though I try my best to stay out of the day-to-day, people still find me. Obviously, I'm doing podcasts and things like that. So they find me, they listen, they comment, and then they engage. So no matter what, if you own a school, you are the top dog, you're the leader. So no structure is structure. No culture is culture. If you didn't build a culture, there's a culture being built with or without you. Okay, so especially this American jiu-jitsu where it's like, wear what you want, do what you want, show up when you want. There's a lot of people, especially in this day and age of mental health, that get overwhelmed with that. And I'll go back to even like teaching techniques. Well, so-and-so does it this way and so-and-so does it that way, but I do it this way. And they're like, whoa, what's the right way? I just learned 3 different ways in 3 days at my school. Holy smokes, overload. And I'm a month in and I don't know which way I'm supposed to do. So all of this stuff, guys, this is not a jiu-jitsu problem. We've had presidents do this crap. We've had CEOs do this crap. We've had school teachers do this crap. We've had summer camp instructors do this crap. This isn't a jiu-jitsu problem. This is a leadership and a lack of morals and ethics problem. So I see a lot of people who are like, just because you're good at jiu-jitsu doesn't mean you're a good person. Well, if people are paying you to learn jiu-jitsu, they're going to expect help because this whole world of jiu-jitsu is new to them. So, man, I find it very hard to play close guard because my hips are so tight and my hamstrings are so tight. Is there anything I can do, coach, sensei, professor? It's up to you. Do what you want. Okay, I'm going to find somebody to help me. So, do you have goals? Is your professor, sensei, coach, whatever you want to call him, trying to develop you in your jiu-jitsu, which how does that not bleed into everything else you're doing? Jiu-jitsu is life. That's what I love about it, especially for kids. When kids, they want to tap the pressure, and it's like, no, bro, like you gotta think your way out of this. You're in no danger. It's just being uncomfortable. You got this. You could think your way out of this. Let's go. Like, look where your hands are. Look where your feet are. Look where your knees are. Can you work your way out of this? Look at that. You did it. I just empowered you. Now you're telling me that little milestone in jiu-jitsu does not bleed into their schoolwork or bleed into another sport or bleed into their day life, or when they're an adult and they have time crunches for like from their boss that things need to get in. So you can't keep trying. Let me just say this. Keep trying to separate the two. And you know who does this the most? Who does this the most is black belts. Black belts crap on other black belts. And like, just because you know jiu-jitsu doesn't mean you're a good person. Very true. But when you're in front of the room, I will tell you, not being a good person is going to hurt the growth of your gym. Doesn't matter how good the jiu-jitsu was. I was at a school like that, and I could not show, while the jiu-jitsu was phenomenal, I could not show my kids what their professor was doing on weekends on it because he was posting on Instagram. And I'm like, and then the minute I heard my like 7-year-old say a phrase that came from their professor that doesn't align with how I'm raising my kids, we're gone. We're gone. And guess what? I found a school that is literally, we're in 100% alignment, and now I'm part owner of it. That's how much I believe in what we're doing there. And so you can't tell me, like, I just teach jiu-jitsu and that's it. Well, you better have a gym full of higher belts because every new belt is going to need help. And guess what? The other people who say this, like if somebody starts preaching to me about X, Y, like goals and all this stuff, that I'm just going to leave. Well, do you know why you feel that way? Because you already found solutions, because it wasn't, you had to create your own path. Your instructor, your sensei, your professor did not give you resources. So you had to go out and find them yourself, and you found what worked for you. So now you're kind of like, I'm good. So now if they decide to do it, it's going to fall on deaf ears. But guess what? It's not all about you. There's people in your school that you train with who are floundering around, who don't know what to do or how to do it. And if you're not helping them, giving them resources, somebody needs to, and it needs to be their the owner, the head instructor. So it's just funny to me. I promise you, you will never see it come from our gym when some craziness happens in the world, politically, demographically, any of that stuff. We will not mention it, because what we're supposed to be is an escape from all that crap. And one of the things I want to challenge is basically grandstanding once again and making it known that you're a place for X, Y, or Z groups, because you're going to leave places out. Are you going to put up every flag of every country, of every demographic, of every sexual preference? Like, do we have to do that? Can't we just do jiu-jitsu and like talk about life that doesn't have to talk about like where we're from? Like, we're all in here trying to learn jiu-jitsu, correct? So let's leave it there, and let's leave all the politics out. This should be a safe space. And the really cool part is when you leave it open like that, you have no idea who you're training next to. And chances are, the way things are today, I could agree with you on 90% of the stuff that's out there, but that 10%, and you and I could be fantastic training partners. And we're sending each other memes. We're like, we roll together every class. We're doing great. Maybe we even go get some food afterwards sometimes. But then all of a sudden, we agree with 90%, but there's that 10% that we don't. All of a sudden, that creates a rift. So why not just leave it out? Because no matter where you stand, 50% of your membership thinks opposite. So this is where being a good person, taking care of your body, taking care of your mind, trying to do hard things, trying to get 1% better every day, trying to act like a professional, all of these things are not political. None of these things have to do with the left or right or any of this stuff. It's just being a good person. Leave it out. Leave it out and watch your gym grow. We don't talk. I don't care what you think and what you believe in and what you post on your social media. I don't care. Come in and train. Let's get better together. Okay? As long as you're not trying to taint the pool in our school, because we're not talking about that stuff. Okay? None of it. So even the crap that's going on now, I don't need to say to people, we treat women fairly, we don't sexually harass women, because if I put that out there, like, that's a given. That's the bare minimum of business, is to treat people right. And guess what? These people, everything comes to light, guys. So while they had their run in the sun and they did fantastic things in this sport, they're shitty people. Okay. Well, and guess what? The house of sand they created is now crashing. But it's not a jiu-jitsu problem. It's not a structural problem. You need structure. You need hierarchy. People need to know the path. So if that's the case, get rid of belts. Get rid of belts. Why do you have belts? To show improvement? Do you need belts for that? Because that's showing a hierarchy. And then guess what? There's an intended or unexpected expectation put on a brown belt as opposed to a blue belt. Should that brown belt live up to those expectations, or should you just take the belts off completely? So guys, it's just a little rant. Very frustrating when I hear people who I don't think have done anything else outside of jiu-jitsu, and they're anti-structure. They're anti-structure, and they want to attack the hierarchy. And obviously, all this boils down to is bad people in leadership positions who abused the privilege they have of teaching and cultivating younger, newer students, or every student under their roof. And they abuse that, and they should get everything that's coming to them. Outside of that, I don't think anybody needs to make any comments, concerns about what happened, because your community outside of jiu-jitsu assumes that you're a good place unless your reputation says otherwise. So guys, just a rant for you. Like, comment, share. Go to rollingforrevenue.com. Buy the Rolling for Revenue book. It's free. Just pay for the shipping, and keep changing lives. And I'll see you guys on the mats.